Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with your host Imperial Dane, featuring another exciting episode of tactical and strategic analysis with a bit of historical insight on 1 versus 1 on Kholodny Ferma. Kholodny Ferma, we shall be watching Nystrom, the Company Heroes 1 veteran here, back in Company Heroes 2, fighting for the Wehrmacht, fighting for the 52nd Infantry Division, going up against Apfelsaft. Apfelsaft leading the way for the 300th Rifle Division in a brutal fight right here between what could turn out to be two good players, or at least one good player. I'm pretty sure Apfelsaft is also a pretty competent one, otherwise I wouldn't be casting this, of course. We are noting here a 2 pioneer start from Nystrom. By the way, starting out with 2 pioneers to grab as much territory as right away as possible, which of course is going to be slightly putting him on the back foot initially compared to what Apfelsaft can bring in with conscripts and whatnot. So if Apfelsaft can leverage this properly, it could turn very ugly for Nystrom. On the other hand, if he's not immediately engaged, Nystrom can leverage this, of course, gain a bit more territory initially at a slightly lower cost. And of course, he's initially going straight for the central munitions point, the only one on the map, gaining that for the glory of the fatherland. And we will likely be seeing the first engagement here. The pioneers moving up, currently not decent combat troops at all, in fact being worse than combat engineers, which makes little sense since pioneers were generally always seen as good combat troops. In fact, they were the divisional elite, so that always struck me as awkward. Anyways, holding up the building there, we're seeing another pioneer squad moving in to support. 2 pioneer squads versus 1 combat unit squad. The MP40 is firing away. One of many submachine guns the Germans in fact used, although it was their primary one. There was one that was quite similar to them, in fact, the MP41, the MP28. And there we go, both pioneer squads are closing in on the combat engineers, firing over the submachine guns. Combat engineers are suffering gravely in the face of the Wehrmacht pioneer, while conscripts are trying to take the center, but are quickly pushed away. And a small conscript squad all the way down south. And there we go, Grenadiers popping in to support Nystrom's pioneers. And suddenly there becomes a bit of an engagement. There we go, a Molotov is lit and lobbed straight into the pioneers. And Heinz immediately catches on fire, immolating him like a pyre. This pioneer squad also needs to get away. They're very low on men. Come on, Nystrom, Rückzug. The pioneers continue to close in, providing close damage while the grenadiers keep their distance. And there we go, immediately 2 conscripts go down to 2 conscripts in fact now. And the center, though, at the same time is falling to Apfelsaft's conscripts. 300th Infantry Division is pushing hard against the 52nd Infantry Division. And there we go, the grenadiers are quickly shifting downwards, engaging Apfelsaft's combat engineers. And a bit of quiet once more. Points are being secured. Troops reinforced. And there you go, the pioneer squad here very low on health is getting engaged by the conscripts already there. We go see 1 pioneer go down, dropped into the snow, almost vanishing into the sea of white. But no, he's still wounded, trying to crawl away, escape the wrath of the Soviet Union, and then seems to expire. A tragic struggle on the Eastern Front. And we're seeing in fact that Nystrom is going very heavy on the Grenadier squads. He's got 3 squads of Grenadiers already. Also, quick Molotov lobbed in through the window, forcing the Facet to burst into flames and Grenadiers out of the building. He might want to consider some of his Grenadiers with light machine guns. Also looks like he's actually upgrading his pioneers with Flammenwerfer. And there go 2 Grenadier squads versus 1 squad of conscripts holding up behind the remnants of a tractor. Once the pride of some collective farm. No, not so much. And yeah, that's just gross, Vasily and Fedorov. Anyways, and there we go, quickly gaining superiority against the Grenadiers there. A Molotov adding in, and the center Watermill falls to the Soviet Union as Grenadiers are dispatched south. Only 1 squad of Grenadiers as the other ones try to secure the fuel point for the fatherland, which means this Grenadier squad could be in a bit of trouble. MT42, where is it? Apparently the crew can't decide where to go. Nein, we must go upstairs. Less Russians. Isn't that the point? I don't know. I just want to go home. They're going moving up. Might want to establish a strong point around this fuel point, of course. getting into that building can help, but you might of course also want to be careful you don't get caught inside the building, in which case it's going to be considerably less fun. Flammenwerfer here near and there being hunted down. There we go, Grenadiers now leading a fresh counterattack in the centre and in the base of Apfelsaft. We are seeing the support weapon Company up, and we're also noting in fact he's got 3 squads of conscripts, which is equal to the amount of number that Nystrom has in Grenadiers, but he overall in fact has more units on the field at the moment in fact. So the 52nd Infantry Division in fact getting a 4th squad of Grenadiers. Good lord, rather heavy tier 1 there from the Wehrmacht. Also looks like he's making a move for one of the cut-off points. And there you go, the conscripts being burned. So it looks like the conscripts are ready to do some burning of their own. And there we go, Molotov goes off. And looks like they walk into their own Molotov, and Vasily bursts into flames as he realizes that carrying around all that vodka proved to be a bad idea. Conscripts, they're going to engage the Grenadiers. Another Grenadier squad finally moving into support. Keep your Grenadiers within support distance. You must split them out so that always one squad can react to the distress of another squad. Otherwise, you might as well consider retreating. You always want to have that small advantage. And there go, we're seeing a Maxim machine gun moving on there for Apfelsaft. Quickly setting up and firing away, unleashing a stream of bullets upon the Grenadiers caught in the middle of the road. Bad news for that squad as it gets pinned to the ground.
We can now build light mechanized infantry.
And we are seeing here that Nystrom is taking up. Might go then for the light mechanized company. Also note here he has gone for Jaeger infantry. Definitely focusing further on infantry fighting, and of course in that sense, you know, going for a lot of Grenadiers and an MG and all that is definitely one way to synergize with. Of course you can still get it to work, of course, with the Panzer Grenadiers, but Grenadiers definitely also benefit greatly from it. So let's see how this continues to pan out, as both squads of Pioneers have now been equipped with flamethrowers. Interesting enough, no MG upgrades for the Grenadiers as of yet, and we're also noting here that Apfelsaft is immediately taking on ahead for the Tankovi Battalion Command, hoping to catch the fascists with the might of Soviet armor. And the machine gun taking up position in what once used to be a church, but has likely been converted into some party building before the German squads took it back and made it back into a church. Maxim firing away, gloriously so. And the conscripts get a surprise as they move in towards that point. Flamethrowers holding the north nicely, and Nystrom continues to make moves south as he continues to intend and harass Apfelsaft's fuel, which is definitely one clever idea. And we're in fact seeing here that Nystrom is ignoring the light mechanized company. He doesn't want Panzer Grenadiers, packs or half tracks. He's moving immediately on to the next tier, which could leave him a bit open considering the heavy tier 1 he's gone for, to a nice tank rush from Apfelsaft. Though of course question is, can Apfelsaft pull it off? Can he leverage the speed in particular, considering that Nystrom is quite fond of trying to harass that fuel point? And a small squad of conscripts detailed to deal with that. Ooh, roaring ahead and getting burned alive, or at least attempted to so. Another Molotov, and once more the Pioneers look like they will be forced away as they continue to die. They're also meaning, looks like they will be burning a few Russians in the process. And there we go, the entire Pioneer squad is lost in the Molotov. A bit of a shame there by Nystrom, a tactical misjudgment, and we're in fact now seeing a mortar being added to Nystrom's forces. Give him Grenadiers, machine guns, and a mortar. Definitely a very solid infantry presence there from Nystrom. But there we go. First tank is out for Apfelsaft, and it's going to be the T-70 light tank. Which should definitely make for a slightly nasty surprise for Nystrom, since he's going to be a bit unprepared. Yes, getting the support armor core, but even then he's not going to be able to get it up in time to stop the T-70 from rampaging through his forces. And MG crew immediately suffering the wrath of the T-70 and its 45mm gun. Panzerfaust impacts with the armor, but ultimately doesn't stop the tiny tank's terror upon the Wehrmacht forces. And in fact, it's time to have a look at Apfelsaft, who has gone for the shock rifle doctrine, I believe it's called, or it's the shock motor. Oh dear, either way, you can get shock troops, camouflages, anti-tank guns, KV-8s, incendiary artillery barrages, and the IS-2 heavy tanks. And these grenadiers are just catching on fire, and looks like Nystrom is too occupied with the north, loses an entire grenadier squad, as the MD crew is forced to vacate the premises, and these grenadiers are coming under heavy fire from the T-70 tank. Grenadiers already down to half health, and there we go, Grenadier down, and there might be another one lost at the very least. Support armor caught us up, and there will likely be reinforcements. And there we go, mortar rounds impacting on the church. And there we go, more Grenadier losses as the T-70 continues to fire down. And of course, also note the T-70 actually starts out with the crew repairability. It's a bit expensive though, but on the other hand, it doesn't require doctrine, which it otherwise does for any other Soviet armor. So in that sense, a T-70 tank can very well operate much more independently if you know how to use it. Although if you don't know how to use it, it's very much likely going to end up very quickly as an armoured bonfire. But there we go, Sturmgeschütz rolling out. Apparently the 52nd Infantry Division had a few in their tank destroyer battalion. A small company of Stugs happened, though not very often. Usually they had Marders, but some did have Stugs. So fun little fact there. 352nd Infantry Division, which held the beaches of Normandy, Omaha more specifically, in fact, had their own company of Stugs. In fact, they've also Stug 3 Ausführung. And there go, the T-70 gets caught in front of the Stug, trying to get up behind. That's definitely a good move, though can't stay there for much longer because the Grenadiers now equipped with Gewehr 43s. And the T-70 tries to get away, but might come under fire. T-70 just needs to keep moving, and oh, very close hit, very close hit. Grenadiers might try and get off a Panzerfaust. The T-70 tries, spending too much time turning about. Can the T-70 escape the wrath of the Stug? Hit there, the T-70 doesn't have long to live. Oh, was about to round the corner, but the Sturmgeschütz crew nailed it. Though we do see assist 3 field gun has arrived. The Grenadiers are running into a problem. But clearly now Nystrom is beginning to upgrade his infantry with a bit more firepower. In this case he's opting for the more mobile firepower upgrade in the Gewehr 43 rather than the LMG. Either upgrades being quite powerful. Of course, combining them really need to have a mean upgrade. And we've actually seen the ambush upgrade for the MG42 for Nystrom, actually increasing the lethality of his MG42 crew for a brief period of time. Very nice move there. Stug firing away there at the church. The Maxim needs to vacate, as apparently the Wehrmacht is conducting an exorcism through the power of Krupp steel. The Wehrmacht compels you and force the church to collapse. And we also note here that the doctrine here, of course, also allows and field guns to cloak, and he's actually ordering it to also hold fire. Though the Grenadiers might then run straight up to it. Bit of a shame in that, though we do see a T-76, T-34, and now the crew's not responding. Oh dear, pay attention. Oh dear. But there we go, T-34, 76 rolling up as quickly as possible. The crew's already suffering some losses. He might want to reinforce it or merge it with some conscripts and bring it up to full strength. Stug immediately opens fire, having already scored a few infantry kills. And there we go, T-76 of 37, 34. All those numbers. Does cause a bit of a problem at times. But there we go, Stug immediately retreating in the face of the field gun, which is then going to prove a bit more of a problem. And the MG42 trying to set up there is getting caught and immediately routed by a nice combined pincer movement there from the conscripts. And as we're noting currently, Apfelsaft is in fact dominating most of the map, despite Nystrom having so much infantry, having a bit of trouble actually holding most of the territory, which probably could have helped with a bit earlier upgrades for the Grenadiers. Though of course now with the Gewehr 43s you can definitely get them a lot more offensively, although the LMG upgrade should not be seen as just a defensive upgrade either, just you need to be a bit more clear about your positioning. Conscripts running into a bit of engagement here from the Stug and some Pioneers, but the Pioneers flamethrower tank bursts into flames, forcing the entire squad to retreat. Grenadiers here holding up against the combat engineer squad. The Gewehr 43 semi-automatic rifle firing into the soft squishy flesh of the combat engineers. They're trying to get into the building, but they might get cut down. No, they actually make it into the house, or at least one man makes it into the house before he then dies. His tank bursts into flames and forcing the Grenadiers to run as the suddenly finds fire pouring out of the building. And a Molotov towards the north towards the Grenadiers there as well. Nice spreading out there, nice harassment, though again Nystrom needs to be a bit more careful since he can much easily lose an entire Grenadier squad that way, as we've already seen. And now shock troops are being sent in to support the 300th Rifle Division.
Present conditions are now in effect. AT-gun here. How can we help?
Grenadiers here in a bit of trouble.
Taking fucking fire. The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
And there we go, Molotov. Can Nystrom save his Grenadiers in time, or will they turn into... Nope, it looks like they will be making it out of there, though just barely. And making a nice move towards the south. Troops reinforcing. And of course, Nystrom could also consider upgrading some of his Grenadiers if he intends to use them more defensively with the ambush upgrade as well. I mean, they also benefit from it. And it is a relatively cheap upgrade, which is always, it's pretty much always pays off to get it for your MG42 crew, by the way. It rather makes it a nasty little thing, as they actually get increased damage for the first 5 seconds, which in fact again also applies to the infantry. So again, your Gewehr 43s and MG42s also begin doing a lot more damage. So that's definitely something to consider there. Overall, it's a nasty little upgrade, but a fun one. And apparently the mortar crew froze to death. That's less good news for Nystrom. Stug a bit on his own. We're seeing a second T-34 rolling up. We've also seen Apfelsaft is getting increasingly more passive. He needs to be careful with that. He's giving Nystrom time to regroup and counterattack at his leisure. That is definitely something he should be wary about, Mr. Apfelsaft, as the points are ticking down against Nystrom. And Nystrom slowly advances. MG setting up in an ambush position. And troops are moving up what looks like to be supporting the Sturmgeschütz.
This now belongs to the people and workers of the Soviet Union.
And there we go. Second Sturmgeschütz rolling out there for Nystrom. 4 command points for Apfelsaft. Incendiary barrage ready. Though he's quite a bit far off from getting an IS-2 anytime soon, or for that matter a KV-8 flamethrower tank.
What do you want, comrade?
Truck troops though leading up the way from the south with their body armor and submachine guns, pretty much just large lumps of steel. Placed in the front, and there go the field gun, could actually get knocked out if it's not careful. The German troops in fact going in for a T-34, moving up the centre. Needs to be careful. You do not want to engage a Stug from the front with T-34 76s. They will most assuredly lose. And there go the field gun is down, allowing the Stugs to move in and get the kill off. Already one T-34 has a damaged engine, allowing the Stugs to easily knock it out. This is a really bad engagement for Apfelsaft. This could turn around the game, and there we go. One T-34 is down, one T-34 is down. Second one coming out of fire. Apfelsaft needs to disengage, pull out before the Stug gets it. Engagement up north, the Grenadier squad could be lost for Nystrom, but again, if he loses T-34s, that's going to be a bit expensive, in particular in the fuel. Manpower less so. Stug now continues the hunt. Field gun should have been recruited, but again, much too slow then. Again, I think it should have been merged, reinforced. T-34 needs to keep moving. Oh dear, and there we go, another T-34 is down. Stug scores several kills in the name of the fatherland. This one's got a damaged engine. Can they get over to the field gun? Can they turn it against this veterancy one Sturmgeschütz? Though we do now know that he in fact can begin getting an IS-2 heavy tank, though, which means he's going to need a bit of manpower and a bit of fuel. Stug rolling back. In the name of the fatherland. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was a bit of a turnaround right there for Nystrom, taking advantage of apparently some poor field gun management, a bit too close to the front line, but also, you know, not very good armor management right there. I mean, those two T-34s were pretty much wasted. Target practice for Nystrom's gunners. Mortar a bit awfully close. There we go, field gun recruit. Finding way right there on the Stug. Stug needs to be careful. Mortar round already impacts with the crew. Grenadiers moving forward with the Air 43s. We do see Cloak. And fires and then actually misses. God damn it, Vasily. And there we go, the crew dies. Quick incendiary barrage on the entire thing, lighting the ground on fire. Fritz burns alive. A terrible fate. Whoops, not entirely sure what happened there. Gets those slight jumps from time to time. My apologies, of course. And sometimes it also gets really, really fast, which of course is a bit tricky as well. But Apfelsaft continues to dominate the map though, but now Nystrom definitely has an advantage. He's continuing to getting more infantry. He's got 5 squads of grenadiers. That's quite a bit of German firepower, and of course already 2 of them are equipped with Gewehr 43s. Though he does seem to have a slight tendency of splitting up, which actually makes it easier for Apfelsaft to actually deal with them, which is something Nystrom needs to be aware of and cautious with, as otherwise those grenadiers will be a bit wasted. And this MG42 crew will soon be Veterans U1 if he can leverage it properly. Veterans U3 conscripts right there. Note there's nothing that is actually Veterans U3 for Nystrom as of yet. And there you go, Veterans U1 for the MG crew. And there you go, the conscripts here just getting torn up. And Apfelsaft now just keeping up the pressure, containing Nystrom as much as possible. Of course, he's going to lose lives at it, but at the same time, if it prevents Nystrom from actually gaining ground, then it's going to be worth it. He's trading men for territory. Very aggressive tactics right there. Grenadier squad inside the building forced away as it turns into considerably large open fire. Molotovs being locked. Shock troops moving out from the south. The Soviet south so far. And veterans with these grenadiers making them tougher to deal with the conscripts. And the fight continues here as more grenadiers are finally arriving to the fight. And the Stug here continues to blast away. Mortar rounds flanked from above, though this one needs to be careful. Nystrom desperately trying to get a breakthrough. And oh dear, his mortar crew is dead. One man runs away most panically. And there we go, veterans, the conscript squad could be lost for Apfelsaft. And it did happen. That was absolutely a devastating blow right there. Definitely not what you want to happen. And shock troopers quickly moving in through the grenadiers, gunning them down without much regard for anything else. And there we go, the IS-2 heavy tank being sent in from some heavy tank regiment, though which was usually a much smaller unit. Once more, one has to remember that after 1941, tank units were generally really sized down, so again, you basically have to count at least a unit down to actually get what it would have been equivalent to, for example, the German or the American, or sort of more Western equivalents. So a regiment would have been more like a battalion-sized unit. Possibly even smaller, in fact. I'm not entirely sure on that one. But there we go, IS-2 moving in. Heavy machine gun already upgraded on it. Grenadiers need to be careful. That's a very heavy shell, very big one. And there we go, 3 grenadiers gone with a single shot. Panzerfaust already knocking out the engine. Third Stug on the way. Veteran D2 on the Stug right there. That's definitely good news, but it's already heavily damaged. I wonder if the IS-2 did all that. Probably not. But here, more Stugs are moving in, more infantry's rushing in. Nystrom definitely wants this IS-2 heavy tank contained. The Josef Stalin. Named after, well, you know who. The previous ones were called the KV, also named after the then Commissar of Armaments, Clement Voroshilov, which Stalin then took over once Clement fell out of favour. There was also an IS-1, but that never actually saw any action. That was pretty much just moving on to the IS-2. As the IS-1 was not that impressive. And of course an interim tank was the KV-85, which was a KV tank with an 85mm, pretty much the turret of the T-34-85. But there we go, MG-42 crew holding back. Shock troopers, though also dying there of hypothermia, which is generally not good news if you're caught in a blizzard. There you go, that 2 Stug definitely going to pay off for Nystrom. Equipped with armoured skirts, although there was also another modification that Stug crews were known to make, which was actually applying concrete to the front of it. But there you go, 3rd Stug moving in, IS-2 still not being repaired, interestingly enough. He might want to just move it back to the base, then just get it repaired. And conscripts there under intense fire from 2 assault guns. And I do believe it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is that Nystrom's finally making some gains. He's securing the northern part of the map. He's holding the northern fuel point as well, but the south is still definitely in the red, in the Bolshevik red. Also, he's able to do some really serious casualties, and you know that's partly what's helping him make those gains. I mean, those T-34s was again quite wasted. And there's an IS-2, but it's not really going to do much for the damaged engine and less than half health. And of course, let's head over to Apfelsaft. What he needs to do is get that IS-2 quickly repaired, and then he's supported with infantry. Shock troops would be a good idea for that matter. And he needs to be, of course, be careful around the Stugs. Supported with a field gun would definitely be a good move, and then he needs to somehow just knock out those Stugs. If he can do that, he can definitely pretty much cripple Nystrom, since they're the only actual threat to the IS-2, and once they're gone, his IS-2 heavy tank can pretty much just begin dominating the Grenadiers, who won't be able to really resist very much. But again, the question is, how does he get those Stugs? How does he get them knocked out? And again, that's going to require full health IS-2 and some field guns to somehow, you know, catch them in that nasty torrent of fire. And of course, in that sense, for Nystrom, the trick is going to be to keeping those Stugs alive, which are currently grouped in a very nice 3-man battery, or 3 Stug battery, which is actually how they were usually organised per platoon. And then, you know, not trying not to bloody well lose it to the communists. And that, of course, also means keeping it support with infantry. He also needs to begin grouping up his infantry into more sensible units, so they don't quite get lost as much, because he does have a slight tendency of splitting them up and then getting them lost very quickly, which is not really helpful. And of course, you could also consider upgrading some more of them with better weapons. That would definitely also pay off nicely. And back to the action as the IS-2 slowly rumbles forwards, and there we go, wipes out another 3 Grenadiers with a very heavy round, which was definitely one of his hallmarks, the fact that he fired a 122mm shell. Though the thing was that due to the size it had to be in 2 parts, which rather meant that the IS-2 had a rather slower rate of fire. Trying to get a field gun a bit away from him, kind of advancing up. Gewehr 43, another squad in fact upgraded with them. Shock troopers moving in for the kill, and there we go, the Grenadiers immediately get pushed away. Again, Nystrom having a slight nasty tendency of splitting up his Grenadiers a bit too far, making them not quite as effective as they could be. Also note the medic bunker up. And looks like things have stabilised again, thankfully, although there might be a few seconds missing as I remove them, as sometimes when that happens it can also corrupt some of the files. Anyways, IS-2 getting repaired, that's definitely going to need to be quickly done so it can much faster get back into the fight. We're seeing Stugs holding out along the northern part of the front, ultimately forming strong points for which the rest of the infantry can fight around, which is definitely one approach. In the meanwhile, a lone squad of Grenadiers continue down south, and we are seeing some veterans, 3 conscripts being dispatched to deal with the vile Hitlerites down there. Swifter turns up here, the shock troopers continue, and there we go, quick grenade, ultimately does more damage to the shock troopers themselves than the enemy. And there we go, lots of fire being poured down, 2 Stugs, 2 squads of Grenadiers, with Gewehr 43s and Veterans 2. And despite the shock troopers best, despite the body armor, it is ultimately not enough. And there we go, quickly recruiting the field gun. Well done, but can they hold it? Can they hold it? More conscripts moving forwards. Might try and get off an anti-tank grenade. The field gun fires away, and there we go. Stug down to half health. Definitely bad news. And there we go. The Maxim moves up. And begins firing away on some of the Grenadiers. And there we go. One Grenadier squad gets pushed away. The other one might soon get suppressed. And a few conscripts getting blasted by Stugs as well. Grenadier squad managed to make up behind one of the field guns. But there we go. The IS-2 rolls forward. Machine gun and heavy gun firing. A quick Panzerfaust there. Might once more. Yes, there we go. Damaging the engine once more. Forcing it to get repaired once more. Ensuring it can't quickly get to the front and maneuver about. Terrible stuff. And there we go, the veterans, the 3 conscripts are getting burned alive by the pioneers. And there we go, one unfortunate Russian soldier, not shoulder. Blah. Hate it when that happens. And field gun blasting away. IS-2 so close but can't do much without getting repaired. And there go, one Stug has actually flanked the field gun, firing machine gun and main gun bullets into the center. Maxim versus machine gun. Heavy fighting on all parts of the scene. And there go, pioneers getting close to the field gun. The IS-2 might want to get up and cover it. And there go, field gun cleared out. Field gun cleared out. And the IS-2 quite failed there to avenge it by killing the pioneer squad. Stug rolling up. And of course, you could try the target weak point ability and simply stun the crew. That would definitely be a nasty little thing to do on that IS-2. Looks like... And there we go, stabilized again. IS-2 moving forward. Stug with its rear reveal to the IS-2. That's definitely bad news. The other Stug might go down to the field gun. Will it happen? Will it happen? No, the field gun seems to be unable to fire. Oh, a shame. No. Main gun destroyed. And there we go, stunning the IS-2 crew. Well done, Nystrom. That's actually the first time I've seen another player use that ability again. It can be useful in getting out there, just allowing more time to bring down a big, heavy bastard. Field gun that continues to fire. Once more, we're seeing the field gun flank because he's not providing enough support for it. Apfelsaft forces are very devastated, very low on everything possible. IS-2 and Stug duel. IS-2 needs to be careful already with the damage. Endgame we might want to consider getting out of there. We are seeing a Stug moving in from the rear as well. Stug retreating. And an Austrian flak panzer. Those would not normally have been handed out to an infantry division, though some might have had flak panzers in their tanks like communist squads. They usually had a small amount of self-propelled anti-aircraft guns to actually protect Stugs in those cases. But that Stug needs to get out at the same time. The Austrian is going to cause some havoc. But our veterans who won IS-2, but not looking too good for it. Really needs to get out of there. And more importantly, he needs to cover it. And there you go, Austrian coming under fire. Now the IS-2 is turning around to present the front armor, but he might be too late. And also close to being able to call in another one. Again, he should just consider protecting his field guns better. And there we go. Oh, IS-2 went down. So close, yet no cigar. Another victory for the Sturmgeschütz. Also floating 1,000 manpower, you don't need that much for an IS-2. By the way, he might then want to consider some more infantry, just calling in some shock troopers. For example, might prove beneficial at the current moment. But no, looks like he's getting another field gun, which could also prove helpful. Ostwind making its way quite far away. Grenadiers here getting pinned to the ground, but finally, as the Ostwind rolls forwards, its 37mm gun tears through the Soviet troops. It makes its way, and there we go, another IS-2 rolls in. Ready to take on the fascists. Desperate to get to the victory point, so Nystrom rushes ahead. With all 3 Stugs actually in nice working condition, although different states of condition, of course. IS-2 moving southwards, likely to going after that Ostwind, crashing through the bushes, and that Ostwind might go down. One more hit, one more hit. Ostwind, by the way, only saw about 41 being produced, and also came about 1945. So again, why they insist on using it is a bit beyond me, when things like the Wirbelwind would have been more appropriate, or the or for that matter the Flak Panzer 38T. But there we go. Ostwind is kaput, brewed up in the name of Comrade Stalin by the tank that bears his name. The Veteran 2 Stug is definitely not looking too good either. Shock Trooper's about to die of the cold. And he continues to float manpower, he needs to spend it. I would again suggest some Shock Troopers to take on the Germans in a bit more violent manner. And there we go, a second squad of Shock Troopers to finally arrive. And of course quickly equipped with the submachine gun. Though generally you wouldn't get them and not get the submachine guns, to be honest. And field gun firing around the Stug, quickly forcing it away. Nystrom solidifies the front. Shock Troopers advancing, but they are coming on intense fire, and we see the mortar recruit, in fact. An interesting move there. And the Maxim provides covering fire as the last Shock Trooper desperately tries to get out. The IS-2's not really being used here. Apfelsaft seems to be getting increasingly passive with his armor, which is generally not how you use Soviet armor. It's more attacking armor, not very defensive armor. If you want something defensive, you want assault guns and tank destroyers. Now they can of course also be used more offensively, but they tend to have a bit more of an advantage defensively. There we go. Nice flanking hits. Grenadiers awfully close, might get off a Panzerfaust. Tries to crush them, there we go, gets one of the bastards. Raking him with heavy fire, and Veterans fleet on the Grenadiers, and then almost wiped out. Mortar rounds landing down upon the Soviet position, forcing them away, cloaking the field gun. IS-2 left on its own with a damaged engine, that is generally considered bad news. And a 4th Stug is out for Nystrom. He's definitely going all in this fight. And for now, the idea for Apfelsaft might be to just get some more field guns and also try and use the artillery barrages to clear out some of Nystrom's infantry, which is rather interesting. He's not using it at all. Grenadier squad moving in, there we go. Spawning up for the Stug. Grenadier suffering a bit, but there we go, the Stugs have arrived. IS-2 pulling back. Field gun almost wrecked. Stug coming in from several angles, in fact. IS-2 already down to half health, and it is constantly bombarded from many angles and getting Panzerfaust as well. Moving in, punishing the Bolsheviks. Field gun firing, getting off a nice hit, and gaining Veterans 1, but the quickly German troops set upon it and kill the remaining crew members because Apfelsaft hadn't reinforced it. Oh yeah, at the same time looks like most of his forces are busy in the north, leaving his IS-2 to be a sacrificial lamb to the Germans, it seems. Which is generally not how you want to use an IS-2. And there we go, the IS-2 bursts into flames and the final shot pierces, leaving naught but a huge smouldering wreck. Also, Veteran 2 on the Maxim, making it that much more nasty. Neatly on out a few pioneers caught in his sight. Grenadiers holding up in a nearby building. And again, my apologies for the technical difficulties. Sometimes they're just unstable parts of the hard drive, which of course I do work to defragment and make it lesser, but still sometimes they do sneak through. But 4 Stugs and a bit of a problem for Apfelsaft, and actually clearing out has rather created a dangerous foe for him. In particular since he also keeps losing a lot of field guns, which is generally very bad. And I mean very, very, very bad. And he continues to float manpower as well. Almost reached into on that heavy machine gun crew. Grenadiers doing what they can from the nearby buildings.
Forces are capturing our supplies.
300th Rifle Division suddenly finding us very much on the defensive in the face of the 52nd Infantry, now really seizing the initiative. And a quick Molotov immediately bursts 2 Grenadiers into flames. Less good news there. And it is rather looking like that Apfelsaft might be trying to get a 3rd IS-2. Though considering his previous experience, this doesn't seem like a very good idea. Never mind the increasing number of Stugs, which will overwhelm it. Field guns seem like the better choice. But let's pop back to Nystrom. Getting another Ostwind Flakpanzer. And now he has 3 squads of Grenadiers with veterans free. Definitely making them some very solid veterans. And there we go, the Ostwind arrives once more. As the shock troopers advance straight into a torrent of fire. And of course the Stugs. And opening up, all the shock troopers doing a bit of nasty damage there. Quickly getting one. Equipped with the 30cm flak, which was also available, of course, in a more ground form, which could still be pushed about. Very nasty, though, of course, fired some pretty nasty high explosive rounds against. Also proved to be quite handy against infantry. And looks like that was that shock trooper squad.
Ivan will die twice as fast.
Ivan will die twice as fast.
Assault gun standing by.
One certainly can't fault the enthusiasm of the Grenadiers. Unless you're the Russians, in which case you're probably not so pleased. And heavy machine gun here getting absolutely overwhelmed. It's rather looking like the final end times there for Apfelsaft, as the Germans tighten the noose. Almost literally, in fact. Stugs moving up. Apfelsaft has barely any units left. He's gotten increasingly desperate and has begun thus losing a lot more units, in particular again because He's been getting close to that point where he thought he can just, risk all those units and still win through victory point. But again, that's a tricky part, and again, where some players then lose, they get too risk prone. Which ultimately paid off in Nystrom's favour, as he was then able to much more confidently clear out all those threats. And Nystrom here is not taking any chances. He's not rushing in blindly. He's slowly but confidently advancing from several angles with several Stugs and the flak panzer. Of course, the level of detail on these vehicles is ever lovely. But rolling forward there. Troops moving forward in the wake of the Stugs. We also know a bit of light artillery barrages from leichte Infantry Geschütz 18. Which you would like to actually have been in the game rather than this barrage, which isn't necessarily always that useful, but that's of course just a wish from me. But there we go, the Germans are advancing on the Soviet base. Firing away, guns blazing. Also going straight after the infantry, you might see the barrage called in as well from Last Nystrom. As the remaining infantry is getting absolutely... And again, my apologies for the technical difficulties. Infantry getting murdered. Not really much here to show. Looks like one Stug is very close to actually getting veterancy free. And there we go, the artillery actually gets called in on Apfelsaft space. And there we go. More carnage. Support weapon company down. And there we go, another veterancy 2 Stug. And the field gun being slowly but surely pushed forwards. Be very, very quiet. We are hunting for fascists. Doesn't seem very well thought out there by Apfelsaft, but he seems confident it somehow will work. And of course it's immediately going to get overwhelmed, as it has the stuffing bombed and burned out of it. And the almost veterancy free Stug just rolls through the remaining Russians now. Another barrage getting called in on the last remaining building. A shock, no, combat engineers apparently, some sort of ability to put it all together, but a bit too late. And there we go, game over. There's still no veterancy free for that Stug. What a shame, what a shame. But there we go. Game over. Looking a bit grim for Nystrom in the beginning, but thanks to some rather devastating mistakes from Apfelsaft, who had otherwise been playing well himself, he was able to overcome, and those partly came down to the usage of those two T-34s, which ended up just being a huge waste of manpower and of fuel. And then came the problems with properly utilising the field guns, which he quite often lost much too readily, and finally the IS-2s, which the first one saw some good usage, but ultimately was rather put into a bad position, partly because Apfelsaft didn't properly support them, because already at that stage he was beginning to suffer some quite severe attrition and losing entire squads. He was also flowing a bit too many resources several times throughout, which he probably should have fixed by just calling in some more troops, which he never did. That was another problem. Apfelsaft was pretty much always slow in infantry, which slowly also allowed Nystrom to that way gain an advantage. In particular because the T-34s didn't last long, and which perhaps could have pulled some of the infantry blasting duties on. Of course, the second Nystrom was just an even larger waste, because it didn't really do much and was pretty much just cornered again without support. And again, an IS-2, a heavy tank that is, doesn't work well without support. It can't do anything much on its own. It's very much dependent on being the focal point of something, but again, that something has to involve other units. So that was a bit of some poor choices there by Apfelsaft, which again allowed Nystrom to pull through with his infantry and his Sturmgeschütz. Victory for the 52nd Infantry Division. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay video and provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.